Hello everyone. One of the most intense confrontations between the British monarchy and Meghan Markle is unfolding, and this time King Charles himself is at the center of it. The royal family, known for staying silent during scandals, has finally had enough of Meghan's ongoing use of her royal title. Despite stepping back from her royal duties, Meghan continues to use the title Duchess, alongside Harry, causing fresh controversy by getting involved in political issues in the US. This not only angers the king, but also threatens the very principles the monarchy is built on. Let's be clear, this is no longer just celebrity drama. Meghan's actions have escalated into a troubling mix of self-promotion and political interference. She's using the title she once claimed she would give up for privacy and independence as a tool for her own agenda. What we're witnessing isn't someone quietly stepping out of the spotlight, but rather someone captivated by the draw of power and status. Meghan, true to form, is using her title like a battering ram, smashing through centuries of tradition and shaking the royal family to its core. King Charles, a man who has spent his life protecting the integrity of the crown, was reportedly furious when it emerged that Meghan had been using her Duchess title to influence political circles, American politics no less, where royalty should have no role, much less sway. Yet Meghan, ever the opportunist, has taken every chance to plaster her royal title across headlines and campaigns, masking her moves under the guise of philanthropy. But let's be clear, this isn't just about her dipping into American politics. This is about her boldness in using a royal title for personal gain. Meghan is no longer just the former actress or the wife of a rebellious prince. She's positioning herself as a political player. And who better to confront her than King Charles himself? According to insiders, during a tense family meeting, the king didn't hold back. Meghan was firmly reprimanded for her reckless behavior, with Charles making it crystal clear that the monarchy's survival depends on staying out of politics. The already complicated situation, full of betrayal and manipulation, took a sharp turn when Meghan decided to. Meghan used her title in a promotional campaign for her latest charity initiative, which supposedly supports women's rights. The irony here is hard to miss: a woman who repeatedly distanced herself from the monarchy now using that same title to elevate her brand. Critics have been quick to point out that Meghan's actions seem like a thinly veiled attempt to influence political opinions under the cover of charity work. And isn't it typical of Meghan to dress up her controversial actions as philanthropy? In the UK, this latest move raises serious questions about the monarchy's role in the modern world. While the royal family is expected to remain neutral, Meghan's blatant disregard for these expectations feels like an insult to centuries of royal tradition. Observers note that her behavior challenges the very core of what the monarchy stands for: a dignified, non-political institution. Yet here she is, dragging the royal name through the mud. In her endless pursuit of relevance and control, it's clear King Charles won't sit by and watch. As Meghan continues to stir up trouble, sources close to the king reveal that he's now more determined than ever to defend the crown's integrity, and for good reason. Public support for the royal family, especially in the UK, relies on their ability to stay out of political matters. The moment a royal, or in Meghan's case, a pseudo-royal, gets involved in politics, the entire institution is put at risk. And honestly, who could blame the king for wanting to stop Meghan's reckless behavior? As tensions rise, it's clear just how far Meghan has pushed things. Her move to California was supposed to represent her wish to leave royal life behind, to forge her own path and live independently of the monarchy. Instead, what we've seen is a woman who hasn't just failed to distance herself from royalty, she's actively used it to her advantage at every turn. Her move wasn't a declaration of independence, it was the first step in a calculated plan to rebrand herself as a global powerhouse, using the prestige of the royal family to boost her image. So what's next for Meghan? Will she listen to the king's warning and back off from her political ambitions, or will she double down and try to make her mark on the American political scene? If her past behavior tells us anything, Meghan is unlikely to back down. She's someone who thrives on controversy. And for Meghan, every scandal is just another chance to push her own agenda. The stakes are higher than ever, and her actions could shape the monarchy's future for years to come. But what about Harry? The once beloved prince has become a shadow of his former self, following Meghan like a lost puppy as she bulldozes through royal traditions. The irony is hard to miss. Harry, the man who claimed he wanted a quiet life out of the spotlight, now finds himself in the middle of an international political storm, all because of the woman he married. His role in this mess is undeniable. By standing by while Meghan drags his family's name through the mud, Harry has shown that he's complicit in her schemes. Perhaps the saddest part of this whole story is the damage Meghan has caused to the royal family's reputation. What was once a symbol of dignity and grace has now become tabloid fodder, largely thanks to Meghan's relentless quest for fame and power. Her actions haven't just damaged the monarchy's standing in the UK, they've tarnished its global reputation. For a family that spent centuries building a sense of reverence and respect, Meghan's behavior is nothing short of disastrous. Her latest move is just another chapter in her ongoing campaign of self-promotion and manipulation. She may claim to care about women's rights and charity, but her actions speak louder than her words. Every move she makes is calculated, driven by a desire for more influence, more power, and more attention. The royal title, which she supposedly left behind, has become her most valuable tool in this twisted Game of Thrones. For King Charles and the rest of the royal family, the time has come to draw a line in the sand. Meghan's betrayal cannot go unanswered. If the monarchy is to weather this latest storm of scandal, it must reclaim its dignity and cut ties with those who exploit it for personal gain. The world is watching, and the future of the royal family is on the line. Meghan's time in the spotlight may be nearing its end, but the impact of her actions will be felt for years to come. As the dust begins to settle from the latest controversy, the picture becomes clearer. Meghan is not content with being on the fringes of fame and power. She seems determined to position herself as a key figure in the American political and social landscape. But what? What exactly is driving this relentless ambition, and how do her actions affect not only her own image, but also the broader societal and cultural framework she aims to influence? At the heart of Meghan's approach is a clear shift in how she wields her influence. The charitable front she often showcases, whether advocating for women's rights or promoting racial equality, has evolved into something far more self-serving. Many critics have observed that her latest ventures seem less about genuine activism and more about using her fame for personal and political gain. For much of the public, especially those familiar with the inner workings of political influence, this isn't surprising. Influence peddling has long been whispered about in power circles, but Meghan's version comes with a royal twist, which unfortunately sets her apart, and not in a good way. Meghan's attempts to enter American politics have rubbed many people the wrong way, particularly among older generations who value the separation of celebrity and governance. To them, this isn't just about misusing a title, it's about the fundamental erosion of the standards that once defined public service. There was a time when politics focused on policy, not personalities, and when serving the public meant more than social media campaigns and glamorous charity events. Meghan's involvement in this world marks a significant shift, raising the question, is she using her platform to drive real change, or simply to boost her own status? This question looms large, especially as the public grows increasingly tired of the blending of celebrity and politics. Meghan's approach reflects a trend where stars from the entertainment industry cross into political discussions without the knowledge or experience traditionally expected. For some, this may seem like progress breaking down barriers between elites and everyday people, but for others, particularly those with a deeper understanding of governance, it signals a troubling decline in how seriously political matters are treated. This is especially true for older generations who have seen politics evolve from a field of public service into one of spectacle. Meghan's involvement only deepens this cynicism, as it becomes clear that her efforts often lack a genuine understanding of the issues she champions. Instead, they tend to rely on catchy phrases and virtue signaling. Meghan's actions seem designed to attract attention and maintain relevance in a media landscape that thrives on controversy. For those who have witnessed decades of political change, from the civil rights movements to the fall of the Berlin Wall, this kind of superficial engagement is not just frustrating, it's insulting. An even deeper concern is Meghan's heavy reliance on media manipulation and public relations to shape her narrative. This tactic has become especially clear as she partners with high-profile media outlets and PR firms to control the conversation surrounding her. Every step, every statement, and every so-called philanthropic gesture is carefully crafted to ensure maximum media coverage and, by extension, maximum personal benefit. This obsession with publicity isn't merely about staying in the headlines. For Meghan, it seems to be part of a broader strategy to reshape her image in line with her ambitions. However, the downside of this approach is that it can lead to overexposure and ultimately public fatigue. The more Meghan puts herself in the spotlight, the more people start to question her motivations. Is she really the altruistic figure she claims to be, or is this just another calculated step in her quest for power? For an audience that has witnessed the rise and fall of many public figures, this kind of media overexposure is nothing new. Many can recall similar tactics used by celebrities and politicians, only to see those individuals fall from grace when the public inevitably turns against them. Meghan's reliance on this strategy suggests a lack of awareness about how quickly public opinion can change, especially when it becomes clear that someone is more interested in fame than in genuine service. Another area where Meghan has faced significant criticism is her tendency to align herself with social movements in a way that seems opportunistic rather than authentic. Whether it's women's rights, racial equality, or mental health advocacy, she often appears to jump from cause to cause, always with an eye toward boosting her own profile. This approach hasn't gone unnoticed, especially among those who have been involved in these movements for years. For activists who have spent decades fighting for change, Meghan's sudden involvement can feel intrusive. Instead of amplifying the voices of those who have long been on the front lines, she often makes herself the focus of the story, using her platform to draw attention to herself rather than the causes she claims to support. This situation is especially frustrating for older audiences who have watched these movements change over the years. They see how hard it is to create real, lasting change and can easily recognize someone who is just jumping on the bandwagon. Meghan's involvement often feels like a distraction from the important work being done, as her presence tends to shift attention away from the actual cause and toward the drama that surrounds her. One major concern people have about Meghan is whether she is being real. To many, her public image seems carefully planned, designed to please a wide range of people while hiding her true motives. This has led to growing mistrust, with people starting to wonder if Meghan's actions come from a real wish to help others, or if she is just looking out for herself. This becomes clear in the way Meghan often portrays herself as a victim, whether it's of the media, the royal family, or even the public. There's no doubt Meghan has faced real struggles, but a lot of people are getting tired of her always portraying herself as the victim. It's hard to see how that fits when she's living a life of incredible privilege. For those who have spent their whole lives working hard without the perks of fame and fortune, her complaints can seem out of touch and self-centered. This can be especially frustrating for older generations who remember a time when public figures showed dignity and humility, letting their actions speak for themselves. They recall when serving the public was about more than just personal fame. So when Meghan constantly puts herself at the center of every story, it can feel like she's turning her back on those values, and it's easy to see why many people are put off by her ongoing need for attention. As Meghan keeps moving forward with her different projects, the public's pushback has only gotten stronger. While she still has some supporters, it's becoming clear that a lot of people are tired of her behavior. This is especially true for older generations who have seen similar things play out before and know where it often leads. The more Meghan tries to establish herself as a public figure, the more resistance she faces. Her efforts to use her platform for political influence have been met with doubt, especially by those who feel that royalty should stay out of politics. Her frequent appearances in the media have. Her frequent media appearances have led to accusations of seeking attention, and some criticize her involvement in social movements as opportunistic. This growing dissatisfaction isn't just felt in the UK. Many people in the United States, where Meghan has tried to make a name for herself, are also starting to question her motives. Although she was initially welcomed with open arms, the excitement has faded and people are beginning to see past the carefully constructed image she presents. Looking ahead, Meghan's future is uncertain. While she has definitely made a name for herself in the spotlight, it's becoming clear that her influence is starting to fade. The public's patience is wearing thin, and if she doesn't change her approach, Meghan may find herself more and more on the outside. For older generations who have watched many public figures rise and fall, this story feels all too familiar. They know that fame doesn't last forever, and those who cling too tightly to their image often face a downfall when public opinion shifts. Meghan's future may depend on whether she can see this truth and change her approach. When we look at her actions and the backlash from her different ventures, one thing becomes clear: Meghan seems more focused on staying relevant than on truly caring about the causes she supports. It's as if she can't handle the idea of fading into the background, even a peaceful, privileged background that she once said she wanted when leaving the UK. The more Meghan reaches for significance, the more her motives seem empty. Her efforts, whether in politics or charity, don't come across as driven by real passion or dedication, but by a need to be seen as important, a key player on the global stage. Yet, despite her efforts, her influence feels increasingly forced, and her image seems more about self-promotion than public service. What Meghan doesn't seem to realize, or maybe chooses to ignore, is that politics demands much more than surface level involvement. It's not just about backing a popular cause or giving speeches that sound good in headlines. It requires understanding the complexities of policy, the struggles of leadership, and most importantly, a real commitment to serving the public. But Meghan's role in political discussions. Her involvement in politics seems more like a performance than a real effort to make change. It looks like she's more interested in being seen as a champion of justice than doing the hard work that real change requires. Her approach, which often leans on her celebrity status rather than actual substance, ends up pushing away people who expect more from public figures. Meghan's habit of using social issues to boost her own image has become a noticeable part of how people see her. She's touched on causes like women's rights, racial justice, and mental health, but not in a way that feels truly meaningful. Instead, her involvement often comes across as opportunistic, as if she's treating these important issues like accessories to improve her personal brand. The public is not blind to this lack of genuine connection to the causes she claims to support. It's especially frustrating for those who have dedicated their lives to advocacy or activism. They watch as Meghan steps into the spotlight with glamorous events and carefully planned media moments, only to vanish when the cameras are off. Her attempts to cast herself as a victim of the media or as someone wronged by others feel empty and unconvincing. For someone who always seeks out the press, claiming to want a quieter life is almost laughable. Meghan seems to have mastered the art of switching between playing the victim and acting as an empowered advocate whenever it suits her. It's a repeating cycle. She's wrong, she cries out, gains sympathy, and then uses that sympathy to advance her own goals. This pattern may work in the short term, but it's starting to wear thin. People are beginning to see through the act and realize that Meghan's constant portrayal of herself as a victim is just a strategy to stay in the spotlight. Her relationship with the American media says a lot too. While the US may have first welcomed Meghan as an intriguing figure, her nonstop need for attention is starting to grow old. Audiences are not easily fooled by fame pretending to be activism, and many are becoming tired of the act. People have seen this play out before. Countless celebrities have tried to use their fame for political or social influence, only to fall apart when the public realized there was no real substance behind the show. Meghan seems to be heading down that same road, and unless she makes a major change, her fate might end up the same. And there you have it. Meghan's endless attempts to grab attention and influence are starting to come apart before our very eyes. But what do you think? Is this the beginning of the end for her whirlwind journey? Or is there even more drama on the horizon? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay in the loop on all the latest royal chaos. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next video.